Welcome to Debutante Renegade. On today's episode, life update on my weight loss journey and my relationship. Before we begin, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit that notification button. It's the little bell next to the subscribe so you never miss a video. Give a comment if you like. Give me a thumbs up. And if you have a topic or question of your own, send me an email at debutanterenegade@gmail.com. I'll have that down in the description box below as well. I'd love to get a question from you or a topic idea, and of course, I can keep it anonymous. Now to it. Life update. I feel like I'm long overdue for one of these, especially on my weight loss journey, because I was really supposed to check in about a month ago on how my weight loss is going and say whether or not I reached my birthday goal of getting back into my pre-pregnancy jeans. And I'm sorry to say I did not. I failed at that goal. I'm owning it. I'm owning my failure. You know, we don't always achieve every goal we set out to. I wish I could stand here and be like, I did it. I made my goal. Amazing. But I didn't. And I can tell you why I think I didn't make my goal and what I could have done to have made it. With that said, I will say I am still losing weight. I'm still getting smaller, but it's just really slow. What I'm doing is working, but it's just really, really slow. And the thing that worked really fast for me was doing dairy-free keto. Like strict dairy-free keto works so fast. And if I had done that leading up to my birthday, I think I would have definitely made my goal. But I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't in the right headspace to do that type of restrictive, challenging diet. I've needed to be able to go out once a week and have something in a restaurant that's kind of easier. And I guess I've wanted to be able to have some of my favorite comfort foods, and not be so strict keto, even though being the strict keto feels amazing and it works so well. And that is my highest recommendation for anyone who's struggling. Do, in particular, dairy-free keto, because the dairy has the hormones and that makes a person gain weight. But I myself, I did it for a few months and it worked amazingly well, and I'm really happy I did it. I just, I'm not 100% in the headspace for it, or I haven't been 100% in the headspace for it the last few months. I'm hoping that I will be able to get back there in the next month or two and really have some fast results. But in the meantime, I'm doing this fasting, this intermittent fasting, but I'm doing it like more hardcore, like 18, 19, 20 hour fasting. And that is working for me, but it's definitely a lot slower. It's working, but it's working really slow. Like, I think it's probably taking off like a pound a week, whereas the keto, I feel like I could take off like 3 or 4 pounds in a week. But this intermittent fasting, yeah, I think it's like going a pound a week. And so with that, like if that's the rate I'm going, I think it'll still be a couple months before I can get in those pre-pregnancy pants. 'Cause it's just slower. But that said, I'm not actually weighing myself. I'm going based on my measurements. And since I started my weight loss journey, I've lost like 4 inches at my waist. So that gives you an idea that what I'm doing is working. my clothes that weren't fitting me are fitting me again, and even loose on me. I bought some jeans after I gave birth that had never fit me since I gave birth. And I bought them and I was like, oh, I'll get into these soon. Like, it took me 7 years to get into them. And I am in those jeans now. I can wear those jeans that I bought that have never fit me since I gave birth. So I am smaller than my post-birth size, but I'm still not quite back to my pre-pregnancy size. I'm somewhere in between. I'm somewhere in between, and I feel good, and I feel good about myself. I still have goals. I would say that from where I am right now, if I had to put like an approximate number on what I would like to lose, I think it's like I want to drop another 15-20 pounds probably from where I'm at right now. But I do feel good where I'm at. I do. But that's my goal, and I do think I'll get there. I don't know when. I have no idea. Maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months, we'll see. But I am making progress. And it's interesting because even some things that I've gotten in the last several years, like I have this really incredible, big, huge turquoise ring that I love to wear. And that ring, I put it on Friday, and it was just like falling off of my hand. Like I can't even wear that ring anymore. And rings that I bought for my ring finger I'm now wearing a lot of those rings on my middle finger, my index finger, my bigger fingers. Like they're just too big. So that's interesting. That's showing me, that I'm like shrinking, but it's happening really slow. And the thing I like about the fasting, it is hard, especially getting started. And, sometimes I don't always go 18, 19, 20 hours. Sometimes I want to have like a late breakfast or something, or I only go, 14, 16 hours. So it's not every day. I would say maybe once or twice a week I don't do it, but I do it 5 or 6 days a week. I go 18, 19, 20 hours without eating. And I just feel like it helps my immune system, and it just helps me shrink my stomach and eat less in my eating window. And it also kind of allows me to be a little bit more lenient with what I do eat. Of course, because you're eating less and you have a shorter eating period, you want to make sure that you have as much nutritious food in that time period as you can, like really have your vegetables, right? But that said, I find I'm able to get away with having some things that maybe aren't the healthiest and still moving toward my goal. And I said this before, and this is why I kind of like the fasting, because it just feels a little bit, it's strict in its own way, but it's also relaxed in terms of what you can eat. You want to do your best. And again, I feel like it works better when I eat like keto and low carb on it, and I eat more vegetables and I don't eat sugar. So if I eat lots of vegetables and I don't eat sugar and I eat low carb and I do this fasting, then it's definitely going to work best. If I do eat sugar, it's going to slow it down. If I do eat significant carbs or bread or whatever, it's going to slow it down. But I can still get away with doing that, and it doesn't completely derail all my efforts. And with everything that's going on in my life right now, my world, it's kind of nice to feel like I can kind of have a relaxed diet where I almost feel like I can have what I want, and what I want most of the time is more or less a keto type, a low carb, paleo primal kind of way of eating. But it's nice to feel like I can have French fries once a week, or have some bread here and there, and it's not going to make or break me. The way that when you're doing strict keto, I feel like that totally derails your thing. And, it comes down to moderation. Yesterday was Easter. One of the dishes I made had some potato in it. Everything else about it was keto, but there was potato in it, so it wasn't totally keto. But it had vegetables and it had some other good stuff in there. And I did make a carrot cake for Easter, but instead of making a conventional carrot cake, I made a paleo. The cake part was paleo. It was made with almond flour and carrots and coconut, and it was sweetened with, I used a combination of maple and agave because I actually ran out of maple. So I used maple and agave to sweeten it, which are, they still have carbs, but your body processes them better than, say, white sugar. And I also used very little sweetener, so it was not a very sweet cake, the cake itself. But then I did make a conventional cream cheese frosting, which had powdered sugar in it. So, the cake itself didn't have sugar, was a lower carb, healthier cake made with almond flour, not wheat flour. And it was delicious, actually. But this is the kind of sort of moderation I'm talking about. It's like, there was some sugar to it, but there was also, it was healthier than a conventional cake. It was kind of halfway in between. And I feel like that's sort of been my diet as of late, is kind of halfway in between. I love being, in the extreme side of the healthy, light, super clean. It's, it's aspirational. But again, sometimes life has other things that are prioritized and other challenges and stressors, and sometimes you just do the best you can and cope the best you can and do things that are easier, So for me, I need some ease right now, and kind of having some ease in my diet helps me. I still am healthy. I still like to reduce my carbs, and doing this more extreme fasting, 18, 19, 20-hour fasting, gives me a disciplinary edge to a more or less healthy / relaxed way of eating. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it is working. It's just very slow, and part of me really wants to do the fast thing again, where I'm strict keto and no dairy, and I just shred. And if I get motivated for that in the next couple months, I'll let you know, and I'll let you know what those results are like as well. I will keep you posted on this journey, and I hope what I'm saying helps. I'm not sitting here pretending to be totally disciplined and perfect, and I am far from it, but I am doing something that works for me, may or may not work for you. But hopefully it helps, just knowing that you don't necessarily have to be perfect, and you can still have some results, but you do need some area of your life where there's discipline. And I can say, in all honesty, as I sit here talking to you, that I'm hungry. Like, my body's hungry, and I probably won't eat for several hours. The only thing I have is water and black coffee, maybe a little bit of tea, herbal or regular tea. But I'm hungry a lot, and I think if I wasn't hungry and not eating, I probably wouldn't be having results. So that's the thing. I think that, if you're going to be losing weight, your body's going to have to kind of be hungry a bit, and you just don't give it food. I'm not saying starve yourself. In my case, we're calling it fasting, but that is kind of what you're doing. You're depriving. You're not eating for a period of time, and therefore your body has to rely on its reserves to get you by. You are depriving your calories of sorts. So, there is a discipline that I'm adhering to, but for me, it feels more relaxed than say doing a really strict keto plan. And doing a really strict keto plan where you can eat more frequently might be easier for somebody else, but for me, at times it's harder. And I will say, with keto, it's nice in that you don't feel that hungry either. I think that's the one thing that's nicer about keto, is you don't, this hunger that I feel in my stomach right now If I was doing the keto, I don't know that I would feel that, because it really gets you so nicely into this kind of fat burning mode. It's just pulling from your fat reserves that a lot of times you just don't even feel hungry. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about it. So first and foremost, I'm a proponent of that. That is my recommendation for myself and everyone. However, if you just can't deal with that, then you could try this fasting thing that I'm doing, which also feels really good. And I really do like it. And it does work, just much, much slower. So that's one life update. The other life update is on my relationship. I am a little anxious right now, not because my partner is doing anything to make me anxious, but we are about to go into long distance territory. He is going to be going cross country, and we are going to be apart for, probably at least 3 to 6 months. We will visit each other, of course, hopefully every few weeks, but we are going to be long distance for 3 to 6 months. And as an anxious, preoccupied attacher, as an anxious person, I am anxious about this. I am nervous about this. I have fear of abandonment. So the idea of my partner, my love, leaving and going away, it does trigger that a little bit. I do feel secure with him, and I do feel security in our relationship, and I do feel like we're in a really good, really strong place. I feel very much in love with him, and I feel that my affections are returned and my feelings are returned. But I'm still scared, and I'm scared and I'm nervous about how all this is gonna go. And I know distance is a hardship in a relationship. So, and he and I are so used to, since the pandemic began, we've been in each other's space for years. Like, we are around each other almost 24/7, too much, really. But yeah, I would much rather, like, one of us goes off to a day job rather than working from home per se, than going long distance. So we're kind of going from one extreme to another, and that does make me nervous. That makes me scared. I think we'll make it through. I think we'll be okay, but it makes me anxious. I am anxious. I am nervous. And that's my truth. That's where I'm at. So to any of my anxious friends out there that feel the same way, you know how it feels. I mean, I think even a secure person wouldn't be pleased about going long distance. Long distance is a strain. It's hard, but my hope is that in this instance, that absence will make the heart grow fonder, and it will have a renewed appreciation and love for each other in our absence, and that we'll do the best we can to reassure one another. Not that he really needs any reassurance, but I hope he'll give me a smidge. And I hope that we'll be able to see each other frequently enough to, fulfill some of our needs and desires. Obviously, it will be impossible to, nicely co-regulate or perfectly fulfill our needs and desires at such a distance. But, many couples go through this. If you've been through this, then I would love to hear from you in the comments. Please let me know about your experience, or send me an email, debutanterenegade@gmail.com. If you've been through this, especially if you're anxious and you've been through this, then I would love to hear about your experience. I have done long distance before. My first real boyfriend when I was in high school, we were long distance for like a year and a half. He was in New York and I was in California. And then my ex-husband, when we first dated, the first year we were together was long distance, again, New York and California. So I've done these cross-country long distance things before, but not for a very, very long time. And I do feel like a different person now than I did then. So I'll be curious. I'll be curious how it goes. I'll keep you posted. I'm nervous. All right, so that's my life update. I hope any of this was helpful or interesting, and I would love to hear from you in the comments about your experiences with either of these things, and feel free to send me an email at debutanterenegade@gmail.com too. You can also find me on Instagram at debutanterenegade and send me a PM there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a beautiful rest of your day.